This is the automatic Peugeot 3008. That's the parking light. Nice dashboard. I really love the dashboard. The comfortability of the driver's seat and the passenger seats is fantastic in this car. And now 3 people can sit behind. If there are only 2, you can drop this and they can put their coffee things and stuff here. Looks like a new car, but it's 2011, so 10 years old. I'll show the booty. The booty space is very huge. So you can place many things here. You can just remove this, place on top, and you can also drop those seats by using a button here, which I'm not going to do now. And then you can also drop things there for extra space. If you need, you can drop those seats, you can drop this, and you can put furniture and stuff into this particular booty. So huge space. That's one thing which I personally liked in the car. Hello everyone, this is Yella, your friendly advisor in Ireland. Welcome back to my channel, all about Ireland. Today's topic is the car purchase process in Ireland. And full disclosure, I started learning driving car in Ireland. I just did around 8 classes now, part of the 12 EDD classes that any learner driver does. So I'm still a newbie. I may be wrong on few of the aspects, few of the points, or there may be a better person who can give you a complete picture. But yeah, here we go. Without further ado, let's just dive in. So there are 2 things, right? One, how did I arrive at the car? The car I want to purchase. And once that's done, how did I, decide on purchasing that particular car, right? Like any other people, I went to Done Deal, and these are the filters which I applied to arrive at the car I wanted. Okay. First thing was whether do I want to buy a manual car or an automatic. I went for an automatic, though I'm taking my EDD classes in manual. The reason was simple. My wife also wants to learn car in future, and she wanted an automatic car so that it's easy to learn and easy to drive, as well as easy to pass. So that's one thing. I'll be practicing more on automatic car, but I plan to give my first test in manual. If I fail, then my second test onwards, I'll be giving it on automatic car. That's the plan. So we bought an automatic car. And just a fact to remember, automatic cars are costlier than manual cars. And the price of the used cars have increased by 15 to 20% over the past 1 year. So yeah, just like other things, the supply is less and the demand is high. So you need to shell out a bit more, but that's fine, budget it yourself. And second thing was, I wanted to buy cars only after 2010. It may sound weird, but I felt somehow down the line for next 4 to 5 years, if someone is purchasing car, they might be filtering on this option that they want to purchase a car which is after 2010. So if I want to sell this car, it should be easy to sell too, right? So we plan to sell in future once we are full licensed drivers. So that's the thing. I went for a car which is registered after 2010. The next thing which I did was I just used Done Deal, because on Done Deal I get to know who's a trader, who's a private seller, who's an agent, things like that. And Done Deal actually helped me with that, so I filtered on that particular thing too, and I just used only Done Deal for all the things. Next, I was inclined towards dealer or trader, primarily because it's difficult to judge a car you purchase from a private seller unless you know the private seller and he's a friend of yours or acquaintance and you already driven the car a couple of times. So the thing with dealers and traders is they give 3 months warranty or 6 months warranty or 12 months warranty based on the year of registration. that will probably help you, and that's the reason I was inclined towards them. The other thing was I looked for cars which had fresh NCT or the tax paid. You need not really worry about the tax payment, because in my case the car did not have tax payment. I paid the tax later after registration. But yeah, NCT wise, you need to make sure that the car is recently NCT'd, primarily because during NCT they check lights, they check tires, they check suspension and other things which are essential for driving the car. Being a learner driver or a newbie, when it comes to purchasing a car, fresh NCT will remove half of the problems, half of the barriers one would have to purchase a car. The other thing is, the reason I went for trader or dealer was the give warranty. So I got a 3 months warranty on this. So when you're purchasing a car, you can filter on warranty within done deal. I also wanted to have 2 car keys instead of 1. You can get the second key done, but I wanted 2, and I chose a car which has 2 car keys. The other thing is, look for cars which have alarm and immobilizers, if possible tracking devices, because the insurance is much less if you purchase a car with these features. Cars previous to 2010, some of them don't have alarm and immobilizer, but most of the cars after 2010 they do have, and that heavily reduces the insurance year on year, though the cost of car might be a bit more at the start. And also look for the mileage. Mileage in Ireland is basically number of kilometers or miles the car has run. I went for a car which has less than 200,000 kilometers, primarily because I don't want a car that has been run too long, so that it may cause engine problems in next 4 to 5 years. I also went for the capacity of the engine. I went for 1.2 liters to 1.6 liters, primarily because I want the car also to be powerful, so that once I'm comfortable with driving, I want to enjoy the car ride. If it has lower horsepower, lower engine capacity, lower speeds, you may not enjoy the ride as much as you would do on a powerful machine. Last but not least is low tax. What happens with cars is, based on their carbon emissions and stuff, the motor tax keeps changing. My car, I paid a tax of 270 euros, which is per annual basis. And I have seen cars which were registered in 2015, 2017, 2018, where the motor tax was 400, 500, 514. Some of the cars which are registered before 2010, the tax goes to 600 something. And if the engine capacity is higher, like close to 2 liters, the tax is 750 to 800. One of the reasons, the Mercedes, the Benz, the big cars, they come cheaper, which were registered pre-2010, but the tax on those cars is very high. So it's, at the end of the day, it's a cost-benefit analysis. You need to see, if you want the car for 4 to 5 years, will you pay high money on the tax or low money upfront? Based on that, make a sound judgment. Myself, I bought this 2011 Peugeot 3008 automatic car for 4795 without tax, and the tax was 270. So the cost or the price I paid for this car, fresh NCT, fresh tax, for 5065. And it's a nice car, nice dashboard. I'll probably put snippets of the car video at the end of the video for you to take a look at. So, few key takeaways. How did I arrive at the car? I looked for nicer car with warranties and the multiple keys and NCTs and other things. I went for automatic for reasons I mentioned in the video. I also went for a lower tax car because I don't want to pay a lot of money in taxes year on year. Now, I arrived at this car, that's well and good. Like any other person who's new to driving, he may have problems with selecting the car, right? How do I verify the car once I get to see the car? So once you're zeroed in on the car, you go meet the dealer, trader or private seller, or they can come to you. It depends upon your arrangement. The first thing is, after looking at NCT and tax, the first thing is look at service history. Ask him to provide you with service history. If it is recently serviced, then engine oil, things like that are good. If it's not recently serviced, then you need to look at engine oil, brake oil levels. You need to look at cleanliness, the paints, blah blah blah. I mean, multiple things come into picture. The other important thing which my neighbor told me is check if the timing belt has been done recently. Like on this car, the timing belt upgrade was done 10k kilometers ago. So any repair on timing belt does stand true for 60k kilometers. So for next 50k kilometers, I'll not have problems driving this car with respect to timing belt. The other thing is, when you're looking at the tires, the NCT, to pass NCT, the minimum the gap and the depth should be 1.6 mm. If that's there, the car passes. But you also need to look at whether the tires are new or old. So you need to check every car tire and check how deep they are. You actually get to see, if you run your hand over the tire, you get to see how deep they are. So it's basically gut feeling, but again, it's clearly visible. The another important thing which my neighbor told me is, you see the car have lines running over, right? Because there are a lot of joints. You need to see if the lines across the joints are very straight. What it tells is, if the lines are not straight, it means that the car has been involved in a crash before. It may be 3 years ago, 4 years ago, but a crash is a crash. It would have damaged few other things which will show up after a few years. So run your fingers across all the lines, see if the lines are straight, if there are any bends and anything that's crazy that needs to be, addressed. That's one very important thing. Tires is one important thing. If you started your EDD classes, the first class talks about how to check engine oil, how to check brake fluid levels. So you can do those checks. If you want me showing those, you can comment below the video description. Service history, NCT, tax. If you have all that, then you can pick up the car. Once you pick up the car, this is what happens. So they'll give you NCT, so you can put the NCT on the top of the car. Now, if the motor tax has been paid, you get the disc from the dealer or the private seller. If the motor tax has not been paid, then you need to wait for the registration to go through. My trader registered the car on my name on Monday. On Wednesday, I paid the motor tax. So within 2 days, I was able to pay the motor tax. I get the logbook in 2 to 3, probably in 2 to 3 days. He said 3 days, so I may have logbook posted to me by tomorrow. The tax disc comes to your house within 4 days is what the website says. So I'm expecting it early next week. So you have the NCT, you have the motor tax disc, and then you need to apply for insurance. You can apply it before, but I did it after purchasing the car. And I went with the black box, so I get the disc only once the black box is fitted. So I need to wait till that, but I can go on to the road with the sponsor, and I can show the email from the insurance provider or the broker saying I already have insurance. And the thing is, the insurance company, the motor tax, everything, all the details are with the Gadi, and they get to know all your details by looking at the registration number. So even if you do not have the documents or emails or phone with you, you should be okay. That was the entire purchase process, how I arrived at the car and how I verified the car and what I did after I had the car. If you have any questions, drop in the comments. If you need any help, you can email me at allaboutireland147@gmail.com. I'll quickly show you the tour of the car, in a video mode, and then that's it. Hope you like the video. Subscribe. Please share with someone who is in the same boat as me. It may definitely help him.